The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are going to get a major upgrade with an investments of over $9 billion under the Great Nicobar project. Seaports, jetties, shipping terminal, airports and power plants have been planned. But this isn't just about development. These islands are an important strategic asset, from countering China's presence in the Indian Ocean to controlling one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. These islands are now important part of India's maritime security strategy. Andaman and Nicobar Islands lie 1200 kilometers from mainland India and only 150 kilometers from Indonesia. And here's what makes their location strategic. They sit right at the mouth of the Malacca Strait, one of the most critical maritime choke points. Just how critical? 40% of global trade passes through the Malacca Strait every year. But to reach the Malacca Strait from the Indian Ocean, every ship must pass through one of the two narrow passages, the 6-degree channel or the 10-degree channel, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands sit on both sides of this choke point. This isn't a new strategic reality. Throughout history, whoever controlled these islands controlled access to Southeast Asia and beyond. The Chola Empire used them as a launching point for their naval campaigns into Southeast Asia. The British used them to expand their footprints in the Indian Ocean. During World War II, the Japanese seized them for the same reason. To understand India's strategy, we first need to understand China's vulnerability. China has been increasing its presence in the Indian Ocean, both military and economic. This is called the String of Pearls strategy, a network of ports and naval facilities stretching from the South China Sea to the Persian Gulf. But here's China's problem. Despite all this expansion, China faces the Malacca dilemma. 80% of China's energy supplies passes through the Malacca Strait. Beyond energy, this route is vital for China's engagement with Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and South Asia. Indian Ocean is also important for China for its naval ambitions and dreams of becoming a credible blue water power. And India sits right at the gateway. In an extended conflict, India could theoretically monitor and even disrupt shipping through the Malacca Strait. This is where the Andaman and Nicobar Islands become a strategic asset. In 2001, India established the first tri-service operational command in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This provided India with unmatched surveillance capabilities over the eastern Indian Ocean. From these islands, India can monitor both commercial shipping and naval movements from Western Pacific to the Indian Ocean. Chinese submarines passing through the Malacca Strait can be detected and monitored from these islands. Once a submarine enters the open ocean, they become nearly impossible to track. The islands serve as a forward operating base for warships and fighter jets positioned 1200 kilometers from the mainland. This extends India's operational reach far into the eastern Indian Ocean. That's why these islands are called India's Unsinkable aircraft carrier. But these islands aren't just a military asset. Though they constitute only 0.2% of India's landmass, but they contribute 30% of its exclusive economic zone. This massive maritime territory provides access to vast resources, fisheries, minerals, and potential undersea hydrocarbon reserves. There's also a potential for a mega container transshipment port at Galathea Bay, which could transform regional shipping logistics. And this is what the Great Nicobar project aims to achieve, to transform Nicobar Islands into the Singapore of India. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands also reinforces India's role as a net security provider in the Indian Ocean region. The islands serve as a base for anti-piracy operations, disaster relief, and humanitarian assistance. When the 2004 tsunami struck, these islands were central to relief coordination. When cyclones hit Southeast Asia, India can respond rapidly from this position. The islands also strengthen India's Act East policy, enabling deeper cooperation with ASEAN members and positioning India as a reliable partner in Indo-Pacific security. But developing these islands isn't simple. The environmental and ecological costs are significant. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are home to some of the world's most pristine coral reefs, unique biodiversity, and endangered species. Large-scale infrastructure development poses real threat to these ecosystems. The islands are also home to indigenous communities, including the Sentinelese, Jarawas, and other tribal groups, who have lived on these islands for thousands of years. Their rights and way of life must be protected even as development proceeds. So, what does India need to fully realize the strategic potential of these islands? The Great Nicobar project is a start, but the requirements go far beyond a single project. India needs integrated military infrastructure, extended runways capable of handling large military aircrafts, deep water ports for naval vessels, and secure storage facilities for fuel and ammunition. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities must be enhanced. Underwater sensor networks to detect submarine movements, advanced radar systems, and satellite surveillance integration. The Tri-Service Command needs to be further empowered with resources, personnel, and operational autonomy to respond rapidly to the evolving threats. India also needs deeper diplomatic coordination with the Indo-Pacific partners, joint exercises, information sharing, and coordinated response to regional challenges. As China expands its presence in the Indian Ocean, these islands represent India's most powerful leverage point, a geographic advantage that cannot be replicated, cannot be countered, and cannot be ignored. The transformation has already begun. The question is, how effectively will India use this strategic advantage?